With the growing use of AI tools, it's never been easier or more important to learn how to build your own website using little to no code. In this video, I'm going to take you through how to use Wix Studio, a platform I've been using for the last couple of years in both freelancing and at work to build websites from the ground up. We're going to go through and build this project, which is an accounting website for a client that I have. Here's a brief overview of the video where we'll have a look at how to make a no-code website. We'll replicate this design here of Dan's Accounting on the right, and everything we create will be editable on the screen so that it's easy to update, change, and modify. We'll make sure that it's responsive on tablet and mobile viewports. We'll use cool features like repeaters that allow us to create blocks that look identical. We'll create custom stacks and containers that have nested text and can resize depending on their interior content, and even a fully functional contact form in just a few seconds. Starting on Google, I'm just going to head over to Wix Studio and I'm going to log in with my own account. If you don't have an account, you can just sign in with Google. Once you're logged in, I'm going to head to the top right here and select to create a new studio from blank canvas because I don't want to use a template at this stage, though I'll show you how they work a bit later on. Here, this will open up the editor and we're going to start completely blank, but I do have a reference of the website itself here, Dan's Accounting, which we're going to rebuild, and we're going to try and first match the current design, and then we're going to try and improve on it bit by bit. So this is the Wix Studio editor. You have your main frame, which is your website here in the middle. On the left-hand side, you have options to quickly add items to the page. And on the right-hand side, you have this inspector element, which tells you about the item you've currently selected. I'm going to go through and start building this website and explaining more or less how these items work. And you can follow along and recreate this if you want at the same time. And hopefully this gives you a better insight as to how Wix Studio works. The first thing I want to do is update the logo. I've got the Dan's Accounting logo here, which I'm going to open in a new tab, and I'm going to save this to my local computer. Soon I'm going to upload this to the no-code platform so that I can utilize it properly in place of this text and this vector art. On the left-hand panel, I'll select Add Elements, and I'm going to drag in a picture frame. Now for this picture frame, currently it's just got this placeholder, so I'll have to change it. In this section, I'll select to upload media and then upload that logo I just downloaded. I can then select to update and utilize it for this image, but right now the container for it isn't the right size. So let me head to settings, and here I can reset the aspect ratio so that it fits in nicely. I'm going to get rid of this previous one here, and I'm going to drag the current one into place. Now this is where docking comes into place. Similar to Figma, Wix Studio lets you move about different elements on the page however you want. A quick way to do this is by using the options just over here, but personally I prefer to drag them exactly where I wish, and then I can scroll down here to the section that is positioning and set the docking position. Docking is kind of like how it's attached to the current sections it's in. It can attach from the top, the bottom, the left, and the right, and when you resize it, it stays locked into that position. This is why you can see it's always there in the same spot on all the different mobile viewports. Now to add the menu. So for the menu, I'm going to just add in a number of links here as placeholders, and we're going to add those links later to actual pages. But this is just to fill out the menu to look the same as it previously did. I'll add the clients, services, about us, contact us, and news pages, and I'll drag these all to be aligned in the same way that they previously were. There's not enough room here for them all to fit in, so I'll expand out this menu section so it uses half of the width of the website, and you can see that it also collapses properly when going into smaller viewports too. With that done, it's now time to take a look at the hero section. This is the first thing that users normally see on a website, and when creating a no-code website, this actually is one of the easiest parts. I'm going to start here with adding an element, and that element will be the main title for the page. I'm going to expand out this to utilize most of the width of the page, and then using the text from the right side, I'll just paste in this text. Seeing this is a text element, I'm going to center it both from the text and the actual holder itself so that it's docked right here in the middle. And I'm going to position it here at the bottom, which means that I'm also going to dock it from the bottom so that when we resize, it's always sticking there to the bottom of the position of this section. For this docking, I want it to be exactly 50 pixels, so I'm going to paste in 50 just over here, but you can also do things like pixels, percentages, view height, and view width. Now for the hero image itself. I'm using this background of a cityscape, so to add this image here, I'm going to upload it. Let me actually just find it because it's nested a little bit as there's a few gradients and elements happening on top, which I'll recreate very soon. Here, I'm going to grab this image and I'm going to save it to desktop, and then I'm going to drag it here to upload as a media document. Once it's uploaded, I can change the background of this entire section, and you can see here now it's utilizing that. Though sometimes you might want to do this in a slightly different way. You can also click to add an image and drag it into the frame, and here I can swap this image out for our new background image, and I can also customize the image, changing its focal point, which is a really important thing if, for example, I want the bottom of the image always to be in view even when it's resized. Finally, all I have to do is expand it out so it uses the entire section width and height, and here you can see it's applied almost like a background image. Now we need the text to be a bit more visible. I'm going to drag in a container block here, which I'm going to utilize the full width of and place it here at the very bottom. I'm going to drag my text into this container. So now it's kind of nested. When I drag the container itself, it drags the text with it. I can also change the background of this container. I want to add in a slight gradient going upwards where its opacity goes to 0 as I move up in the section. I'll also update the color here to be the primary color, which is this blue. But in a second, I'm going to change this blue because it's not the theme color of this website. And I'll show you how themes and styles take part in creating a website soon. But for the time being, you can see I've added in this gradient and it's looking good. It's making this text look like it's standing out a little bit more. Finally, I'll change the text color in this section to be white. So now it's replicating the previous design. Now here, let's update the theme for this color because this blue color isn't the right one. Heading to the left here, I've got styles and typography. I'm going to select color 6, which is the main theme, and I'm going to use the logo color here, which has this teal color, as the main color for color 6. I'll apply this and you'll see that the background for the gradient we created earlier is automatically updated. If I was using that style anywhere else, that would be updated on the site too. Now to create the next section. Normally the next section here is a call to action, but what I want to do is replicate these banners that are here on the right hand side so that they exist just under the hero section. So for these, I'm going to create a new section, and this section will have a grid layout. I'm thinking to use a number of columns, maybe these 4 here, since we have more or less 4 on the right hand side example. Like last time, I'll save these to desktop. And here under quick add, I'm going to drag in an image placeholder and place it on the very first column. For this image, I'm just going to resize it so that it's in this section here as a square, and I'll upload the very first image, which is for chartered accountants. Now for this image, it might not be the right size, so I'm just going to make sure that its aspect ratio is properly adjusted by resetting it. And then I'm just going to place it around 30 pixels from the top here, nice and centered. Now I'm going to copy and paste this out to all the other columns, and we'll get these ready so that I can simply upload the images that were referenced on the right hand side example. My goal here is to make sure they're nicely aligned so that they look great. But unfortunately right now, due to the fact that we have 4 columns, it feels like they're kind of all over the place. And I want to center them a little bit more. In this case, I think 4 columns might not be the right amount for this design. So instead, I'm going to go here to columns, and I'm just going to add 2 more columns. This means that I can actually center most of the items on the middle 4 columns, and the 2 columns on the left and the right hand side can be used as kind of like a margin. Here's the final result, and you can see that they look well aligned now. It's always worthwhile going to different types of viewports for tablet and mobile to make sure it looks good on all. In this case, I find that the mobile viewport isn't looking great, so instead of columns here, I'm going to swap this to rows, and this section will automatically update, though it's not going to look great straight away. I'm going to hide the very first column because this now, which is a row, is just empty space. And I'm going to resize some of these images so they seem to work a lot better for a mobile viewport. There'll still be a lot of spacing here between the rows, and I'm going to fix that up shortly. But for the time being, I just want these icons to not be larger than life, but just nice icons that will be displayed in a nice row as we scroll down the page. Now to fix the height of these cells. So if you go to the main section here, you'll see a couple of options. You could manually try and resize the row by dragging like this, but this isn't the best way. Instead, what I normally like to do is head head to the row section and manually add in the pixel amount of height that they should have. So here you can see some are 200, some are 300 pixels. Instead, what I'm going to do is try out a couple of figures. I think 150 is just about the right amount of height. And you can see that when I start adding in 150 for all of them, that looks great, except for this one here, which is still a little bit too large. And since we have two lots of icons happening here for MyOB and 0, I'll head back to the section, to rows, and update the height here to maybe 250 pixels, which gives it enough space to fit both types of logos in, while also letting me make them a little bit larger. Heading back to the desktop viewport, we can see all the logos are nicely fitting in, but the height here for the cells are still a little bit too large on the desktop viewport. If you head to the section, under cell you can see the width, but we want to get the height. So I'm going to head over to the rows, and here we've got about 500 pixels, which I'll halve to around 250, and this is just about perfect to fit all the logos in. With this done, I think we're ready to move on to the next section, which is our call to action with these 6 images on the right hand side. Since the call to action has a number of repeating elements, I'm going to use what is commonly referred to as a repeater. If you head to Layout Tools and then to Repeaters, you'll have a couple of different options here. I'm going to select the grid option, and I'm going to put this into my section here. Now this gives me a number of cards. Right now I just have these 4, so I'm going to add 2 more in order to have this look the same as the call to action on the right hand side. And I'm also going to move it here to the top left and resize its width so that it's about the same width as the logos on the top. Now I can add some elements to this. I'm going to start off with adding in a title, and you'll see that once I add a title to a single element, the cards clone that all across to all the other elements. Now while they're cloned right now, it's only the element itself, and later when I change the text, they'll all be unique. I'm going to resize these so that they're here at the very bottom, and I'm going to start going through and making sure that the design of this is more or less the same as the one in the example on the right. I'll add in an image as a background image. Now I've got the text, and I also want to add this background layer. But before we add this, I think I need to increase the height because the text and the image don't have much room to breathe. I'll shrink the image and then select the item and just expand out its height. You'll see that all the items also get expanded out. I want this to have an aspect ratio of about 16:9 so that we can fit in the images and the text nicely like the example. Now I want to add a background for the text. I'm going to click to add an element, and this element will be a container. The container is where I'll place the text. So let me resize this here to exist at the bottom, and then I'm going to move it up a little bit so I can drag my text inside of the container, and these are kind of now grouped with this nesting effect where the text is essentially inside of the container, and when I move the container, it moves as well. I'll change the container to have a black background with an opacity of about 50%, and then I'll change the text to have a white color, and this will replicate the exact same look that we had previously in the example on the right as well. Now to start customizing this, I've got a number of images on the right hand side, so I'm going to go through each one, save them, and then upload them to the respective slots here in this no-code website. The result will look something like this. You can see that this entire section looks almost like for like. I can resize it to a tablet, but on the mobile viewport, it doesn't look great. This is where it's worthwhile changing these cards into a list and then expanding out the list height for each one of these items, as well as adjusting things like the container and the text so that it all still looks good when it's on a mobile viewport. The result will be something like this, and as we scroll through, we can see all the sections, and if we head back to a tablet or a desktop viewport, it goes to the original design, which is exactly what we want. Now for the last 2 sections, the news section and the contact us form. For the news section, I'm going to use a section grid here of 3 rows, and I'm going to change the background to this dark background we have in the Downs Accounting example on the right. Next, I'll add a container here where I want to put the news items. I'm going to add in a title as well as a paragraph and an image in. And I'm going to resize these so that they can all fit in nicely. I'll also drag in a button, which I'll place here at the bottom, and I'll style this to look more or less that same red color color that we have. Now, this one item now I've stacked in a group so that I can simply copy the entire container with the stack and copy it to the left column and also to the right column. All that's left is just changing out the text and images with something that's a little bit better. I can also play around with its positioning so that it's always aligned in the middle, and this is where the grid lines are useful because they'll let me know when something is centered. Now that we have that done, I just want to add in the contact form as one of the final things so that we can just have a look at how quickly and easily that can be done. This time I'll create a 2-column design with an image on the left, and in contact forms, I'm just going to drag one of the default contact forms here to the right. This is because it'll automatically hook up Wix Forms, which has a database and will send emails, so I don't actually have to do any special programming. It's just going to work. And with this, we more or less have replicated the design of the Downs accounting website. Of course, there's a lot more that could be done. We can go through the images and select ones that make a lot more sense. We can go through and build out all the other pages, but all of this would be ready for another video. This is just to give you an introduction to how to get started with a no-code website builder. The only other thing you need to know is how to publish. The easiest step. Select publish on the top right and select the URL you want to use, or a custom domain. And that's it. It's now online and available for you to preview, share, and start using, just like that.